2, Cord Killers Reckoning. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we are just trying to find out how to watch what we want, when we want, wherever we want. Brian, where's the good stuff?
Tom, we have spared no expense. We here at the Cord Killers podcast have sent none other than our very own Tom Merritt all the way to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for the breaking news of the Consumer Electronics Show 2026. As many of us remember from 1982's Tron, in which Dillinger says, if you've seen one Consumer Electronics Show, you've seen them all. We're going to find out, boots on the ground, the cutting edge of the cord-cutting revolution. We go now with a first-hand report to Tom Merritt.
Thank you, Brian. You are not going to believe what I have seen here at CES. Let me tell you all about it in the supply run.
Supply run.
Oh, wait, sorry, you were muted. I didn't hear what was the report, Tom? I'm afraid you're breaking up.
Brian, there's a lot of TVs here.
Yes, surely technology has advanced. Rokus, they used to be outside of TVs, then they were in TVs. Are they now? Do they eat TVs?
I haven't seen a Roku yet here.
Okay, OLEDs. LCD sound machine.
I got something.
CRTs.
I got something
RGBs.
for you here. Yeah. RGBs. You nailed it. RGB LED TVs.
Yes.
Yep.
Are they foldable? Are TVs foldable now?
You know,
Is it the hot new?
You think they would be. There's not a lot, Brian, to be honest.
I really just want to do this bit for the next hour, Tom.
I know.
I just want to. I had the whole thing like shower curtain rods.
Are they
Bluetooth?
if we did the bit?
So RGB LED TVs are a real thing. Samsung and LG showed them off. Hisense has them. TCL has them. That's just an acronym you need to remember so that when you see it, you can say, oh, those are the ones that have really good color. And are probably more expensive than the LCD TV I can afford. Prices are pretty high on these if you have a price for them at all. But they do have an incredibly broad color range. And when you look at them, you can tell. You're like, wow, that the colors on this are amazing. We could get into the technology of why that is. The short version is they're using colored LEDs instead of blue and white LEDs, so you don't have to have another filter to put the color in. And that helps the colors stay bright. But they're not as precise, and they don't have as good of the black levels, the dark parts of the picture, as an OLED TV, because the OLED TVs have pixels that emit the light themselves, and so there's nothing in the way. And when they're off, right? That's why you get those deep black levels. But that's probably the biggest TV viewer related story is, these new RGB LED TVs.
So this might be a fun game. Number one, I think it's important to remember that as old hat as CES may be to you, Tom, there's a lot of things that are going to be novel and new to somebody out there. For example, I remember one of the years that I went to CES, I was like, oh my God, they're tasing people. And you're like, yeah, they do it every year. And you were just so not impressed with it.
It's so funny how, like, if you do attend CES every year, it feels like nothing changes. But if you look back 5 years ago, we didn't have most of the stuff that they're showing today. So obviously something does change, but it's somewhat incremental.
Well, let me use you as a wish genie because I'm not there, but I can imagine where we're at. I know that in general displays keep getting bigger and cheaper, and they unfortunately keep trying to get smarter. And I of course want them to get dumber. About how much can I get for $1,000 in terms of TVs? If I'm willing to part with $1,000, what can I expect nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, that's not really what CES is about, right? That's more of like, in the rest of the year, finding out what the bargains are, right? And for $1,000, you can get a very good TV. You can get an OLED TV if you want that kind of black level and brightness and all of that. You can get a really good LCD TV. It's not going to have as good of the brightness and the black levels and stuff, but it'll have a very good picture. $1,000 is a lot to spend on a TV these days. Really, where we're seeing differentiation is not even in the size, as far as like 100 inches or 90 inches or anything like that. It's in the thinness. So when you said they're getting bigger and cheaper, they're definitely getting cheaper. Although the biggest TVs and the newest TVs you're going to see here are priced in the tens of thousands. Honestly, that's cheap compared to the biggest and newest TVs of 10 years ago that were priced sometimes in the 50s of thousands, and in dollars that were 10 years old. So I do think TVs are getting cheaper. They're getting thinner. LG showed off their wallpaper television that is so thin it literally does look like it's wallpaper, like you could just stick it to the wall. You've got some really big TVs from Samsung that are trying to be digital art. Amazon came out with a new TV that's digital art. Everybody wants to sell you a TV with a big bezel around it that they call a frame. And they say, this is for your digital art. It can also watch television shows too. But when it's not showing you television shows, when you're not watching Pluribus, you can just use one of our, in Amazon's case, 2,000 free pieces of digital art that are curated to look amazing as if it were a painting hanging on your wall.
Okay, when you make that transition to legit with a straight face calling it a way to display art, it changes things. Like, for example, normally I would think of an e-ink display or not something that I have to worry about refresh rates or my eyes getting tired looking at. But these are just the same TVs?
Yeah, and they optimize the picture in the display so that they are better at showing still images. They're usually LCD TVs for that reason, and they optimize the art. So they pick art that looks really good. Sometimes it's reproductions of famous pieces of art that they've tried to make really good in an electronic setting like that. Other times it's original stuff that takes advantage of the medium itself.
And so I alluded to it earlier. An ongoing trend has been first set-top boxes for over-the-top streaming services, and then they became sticks, and then they became integrated with the televisions. And I howled about how TVs are purchased in a 7-year cycle, whereas this hardware turns around in 2 to 3 years. Where are we at now? Are we at a place where we're leveling off, or are they finally not underpowered doodads that are...
You know what? Actually, LG was... everybody wants to put large language models in their television. In fact, we'll talk in a second here about what Google and Amazon are doing in that space. LG talked about using LLMs in WebOS, which is its TV operating system, to help you do a lot of things easier. They've got a Copilot, Microsoft Copilot button in there, so you can talk to it if you want. And to do that, they all have to have a better chip. They have to be able to do some of the inferencing on device, and I think, and so they're bragging about their chips. And I do think that you're seeing the like, this TV operating system is so slow. That's the thing old people say now. Like, the TV operating systems, work decently. There's not that big delta of like, well, I bought a Roku box because it's so slow when I use the TV operating system. In fact, even older televisions are getting better as they optimize these operating systems.
Now, what about on the opposite side of the spectrum, where we're talking about like in glasses heads-up displays? Is there what's the state of that?
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Xreal has a new pair called the S1 that can do 1200p up from 1080p. They're really kind of positioning it more for gaming, but Jason Howell tried them on yesterday and was like, these, or actually I think he got an advanced look at them. He's like, these are great. He's like, I can watch video. They can translate things into 3D in a way that doesn't look weird like it did when you had to wear the glasses. Obviously, you still have to wear the glasses, but the glasses are your display, right? So you're not looking through the glasses at a display for 3D in that case. We're going to see a lot more of those kinds of things, I think, over the course of the next couple of days at CES. But the big news today was the operating system updates. Google expanding what Gemini can do in the Google TV operating system. You can now use it to search Google Photos, make slideshows, remix your photos, and Nano Banana and Veo are on board in Gemini for your TV now. So you could just create stuff when you're looking at your TV, talk to it and say, make this video. Also, you can now use natural language to ask Gemini to do things you would want to ask it to do, like make the picture brighter or change the contrasts, any of the settings related stuff that I think a lot of people expected Gemini to be able to do before, now it can do.
Now, is that a permissions level situation, or why did we not have that out of the box before?
I think they're probably slow walking what it does so they can make sure that it performs the way they expect. So they're just making sure, like, okay, let's see what people use Gemini for, keep it limited to what it can do, figure out how much of performance hit it takes, how much of a load on our servers, all of that stuff, before they add the ability to do stuff. And it may be that it just wasn't very good. You know how these large language models change as they continue to get updated. It may have had unexpected behavior when you asked it to change brightness before, and now that kind of thing has gone away. That's just speculation on my part, though.
So do you think, it seems like in a lot of these, we've run through kind of adolescent phases of the technology being herky-jerky, but you're just amazed that it works at all. Are we entering a smooth phase of this, or an adolescent one where we got a grade on a curve?
I think TVs just work now as smart TVs. Yeah,
specifically the LLM piece is what I'm thinking about.
What I'm thinking is smart TVs are no longer the problem. Where they're like, well, I don't know if I want a smart TV. It doesn't work very well. I think more and more people are using them, and they work better and better. I think the LLM part of it is where it's like, okay, you say it can do this, but it doesn't always do it, or it doesn't do it the way I want, or it doesn't do the thing I want. Amazon has added a little bit of smarts. They're adding their Amazon voice assistant to the Fire TV, so that you can do some things, that you can ask it to do things, which is interesting because with Alexa, they were in Fire TV earlier. They were actually in Fire TV before everybody else, and you could ask it to do things in search before, but they lagged behind. So now they're having to kind of play catch up with the rest of the world in that space. Fire TV UI also got a new design. When you're talking about performance, they say it's 10 to 30% faster. It's got a rounder look, a little more room between the items, so it's got a little more space, easier for you to navigate. The menu button brings up Fire TV's art, photos, games, and ambient experience features. If you long press the home button, it pulls up a shortcut panel. And the Smart Assistant is now available in the interface. You don't have to call it up, dig around for it. This is coming to all users with the rollout starting in February, extending to all supported devices. And the Fire TV app is getting more functional. You can browse content, edit your watch list, play things on your TV, just like you can with the Roku app. And Amazon is making that art style TV that I mentioned earlier. It's called the Amazon Ember Art line.
And on that, the bezel itself is just kind of looks like a gold thing, and then they have like a fake matte on there.
You can swap out the bezels too. If you're like, I don't like the gold one, let me put the black one in, or the silver one, or the white one. Like you can customize it.
That seems, Tom, that seems dumb. That seems like Tom, if I were somebody who got on a plane and went to Las Vegas, I might be a little bit chagrined with what the things are awaiting us.
Thankfully, there's a lot of fuzzy robots to distract me from that, but I know what you mean. It's not the like big earth-shaking announcement that you would expect out of CES, but it was one of Amazon's announcement. I agree with you that it seems dumb until you find a reason for it, and then you're like, I don't know, that could be cool. We have a space in our dining room where if you sit, you can't see the television. And yes, I'm a heathen who wants to have television on while I'm eating sometimes. I thought about for a while putting a TV up on the wall in the dining room that we would just mirror.
Seems gauche.
Yeah, well, exactly, until it's an art TV. And then when it's not a TV, it can just be, a landscape or a painting of fruit, and it looks like it belongs in the dining room.
And think about this. What if watching media was a third or fourth place job of it? Let's say job number one is to be art. Job number two is whatever the day's photos automatically start showing in a slideshow.
Yep.
Or context-aware reminders of schedules. And then fourth place was, or you could put on the game.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think it becomes more useful then. Last thing from CES to talk about is coming later this week. We're going to hear a lot more partnerships. The Cannes Film Festival, got the award for innovation in film tech. or is awarding the award for innovation in film tech here. We're also going to see more from Netflix, Disney, obviously Amazon we talked about, NBC Universal is here as well. So there might be some more announcements later this week, and I'll catch you up next week. But so far, Brian, it's better looking televisions.
Man, whatever happened to real quick? Greatest hits of the last decade or two. 3D came and went. Lenticular 3D came and went.
Yes.
Smart TVs came and became boring. OLED came and went.
Well, it hasn't
what
went.
else?
OLED's still here.
Yeah, it came. Plasma went.
The rollable TV, the LG one, that still hasn't gone yet. But like that one isn't as fancy. But the one that can disappear when you don't need it. Speaking of wanting to get rid of that gauche screen.
Yeah. So many TVs we hardly knew ye's.
Yes, and we were there for all of them, Brian.
That's right, because we were, according to our attorneys, very luckily on the scene of the mass murder of all these cords, and have been for 15 years and counting.
What a coincidence!
Yeah, yes. And if we, lawyers are very expensive, and we want to pay for them, and that's why we rely on our fantastic patrons over at patreon.com/cordkillers. Cordkillers.com is our website, but if you support, you get your own RSS feed, you get early access to the full experience, you get exclusive access to the After Talk segment because you're one of our fantastic bosses.
Indeed. Please, please, please continue to support us. It's one of the reasons I was able to have a yogurt this morning. Thank you for your support. Let's move on to the search party. I believe that you were right, Brian Brushwood. We got another Avengers Doomsday teaser. This one, the Thor edition. Of course, Avengers Doomsday coming December 18th, 2026 this year. This one is all about his daughter, Love, who will be played by Hemsworth's real-life daughter, India.
Yeah, this is, so if anybody missed it, there was in isolation one teaser for Doomsday that had Steve Rogers as Captain America, and I suggested that would be a very dumb thing if that's all you plan to do. But if you plan to show a bunch of vignettes, then you're onto something. I got to tell you, Tom, Doomsday comes out this summer? Is that right?
Yeah, December 18th.
Oh, geez, at the end of the year.
It's summer in the Southern Hemisphere.
So think about this, Tom. If we're on pace, I think we're going to have 50 of these, 50 little 1 minute long vignettes. And
I hope you're wrong about this one.
No, I hope I'm right. And on top of that, I'm kind of here for this type of storytelling. Imagine the runtime being as long for a collection of all the trailers as the actual movie itself. And you get, when you think of it that way, something close to the actual Secret Wars experience. All of these individual, you weren't expected to have read every single comic book in the Marvel universe going into Secret Wars. Didn't hurt if you did. And likewise, you wouldn't be expected to have watched all 50 individual 90-second long vignettes. Wouldn't hurt if it did. I'm here for it. I think that anytime you mix the medium with the message and stuff, and you play with that space. Maybe it's the magician in me, but I like it.
Who do you think's next?
I think I heard rumblings of wasn't there an X-Men one that debuted in theaters?
Oh, I didn't hear about that. No.
Yeah, you can't find it online because they're pretty good about takedowns. But every so
it'll
often,
come eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And not just that, but like Scott Summers, 2003 X-Men.
Ah, okay. Yeah, nice. Our last one will probably, of the 50 that you are predicting, will be Wonder Man, because we just got a trailer for the Wonder Man mini TV series. It's an 8-episode series premiering on January 27th on Disney+. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II stars as Simon Williams, a.k.a. Wonder Man, an actor and stunt person that has actual superpowers, but he hides them because what he really wants to be is an actor, to play a superhero on a TV series. And of course, Ben Kingsley reprising his role as failed actor Trevor Slattery, which I believe was in Iron Man and in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Iron Man 2, I believe. Yeah, he was the fake out Mandarin. Tom, did you watch this trailer?
Yes, I did.
I loved it. I loved it so very much. When it comes to telling stories on whether it's on YouTube, in print, in a single tweet or whatever, I suggest to people that you should find the domain of your story and have your story be just a little bit bigger than it. By framing this whole trailer or this whole show as kind of a twee, almost, what's his name? You know who I'm thinking of. Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums. Why can't I access his name?
Okay.
You can't access his name either. That's fine.
Right.
We're all thinking of him because some of us have to talk while also doing a show. It's fine. You're thinking of the right guy. By framing it as something like that, when you get to the expression of superpowers, it feels bigger than the domain. I love that the scale is I can't. All I can do is Bill Murray is in all of his movies. Why can't
Wes Anderson?
Wes Anderson, thank you. Wow, that was miserable. But the important part is the Wes Anderson vibes from it were just sweet and believable in a very emotional way, which I don't know. I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, no, I think it looked really fun. I wonder if it appeals to you, Brian, because you're actually a wizard.
You know what? I had to sign a piece of paper when I came on to Cord Killers that I had to promise they were not actual wizard powers.
Finally, a trailer on the John Madden biopic showed during football during Christmas Day. Amazon Prime Video will bring Nicolas Cage playing John Madden to a biopic coming Thanksgiving 2026.
Hated it.
Really? Why?
Can't put crazy on crazy.
Yeah, I went into it thinking this is going to be awful because Big Jim is the one who told me the trailer was out. And I'm like, okay. And I watched it. I'm like, actually, I think I buy it. I think I buy Nicolas Cage as John Madden.
Maybe I just had a sour taste of the very cheap. You have an actor who's known for going over the top, playing a character who's known for going over the top. And I think I would have liked the trailer better if they had withheld the one thing we wanted to see is over the top person doing over the top stuff. And instead they ended with gibberish on a whiteboard over the top. And I was like,
okay,
that's
all
it.
Right. Fair. Yeah. Well, we'll find out this coming Thanksgiving. I know we just got over Thanksgiving, but there's another one coming every year. All right, let's move on to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Buried treasure part of the show is where we talk about something we have been watching, and Brian is watching the biggest hit movie in China.
Yeah, also the biggest release in the history of Disney. It's
Yes.
Zootopia 2. Tom?
Why is it, now that you've seen it, I haven't seen it yet, why is it so popular?
Mainly because it's reliably going to be more of the same of a safe thing that we liked.
That's usually what you say about something that flopped. It was too reliably over the same. Like, why is that a plus in Zootopia's favor?
No. I didn't say it was a plus. I said that's the reason that it made a lot of money. I didn't say...
but a lot of times stuff flops and you're like, it was too same. So it's just the right amount of same?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean, it delivered on quality, good enough, generally positive reviews. I found it slightly cringy in the first act. A lot of remember that, and same joke. And there's a number of things that seem really kind of stretch wedged in. And I'm like, maybe is Zootopia bad and I didn't know it? But at the all is lost moment, a bunch of things nest together. And in retrospect, it's very clear that, that B- way of wedging that in and that other B- way of wedging is all clicking together in an A triple plus kind of way. So it had me it had me fully on board by the end. And in fact, there was even a wrap-up coda moment that I was like, okay, this is a bit much. But then they did the thing where it was schmaltzy on schmaltz, and then you're like, that's too much. And then they kept on going, and it became funny again. So, yeah, recommended. Thumbs up.
Excellent. As you mentioned,
also-
grossed 1.46 billion at the box office, the highest grossing film ever, passing Frozen 2, Disney's highest grossing film ever. Wow.
I also want to give a shouts out for figuring out how to tackle racism through a different lens. They obviously, because 1 week beforehand, canonically in this universe, they had solved racism between predator and prey.
Right.
Now, the new distinction is between territorial species and non-territorial species,
okay.
and they do a little riff on redlining.
Huh, I wouldn't think that would work, but you're telling me it worked.
It ends up, it's interesting because there's a species that gets squeezed out, and it's the story is of course based on actual racial prejudice, but they avoid that. I don't know. It's just an interesting new lens that I thought largely worked.
Well, over the holidays, my nieces, the 5 and 9-year-old as they are now, which is not nearly as fun to say, visited. And so we watched a lot of Bluey, Brian. And
Does Bluey hold up?
it's genius, man. It's really good. The few days that I had to go do work and they were sitting on the couch in the morning watching Bluey, I was doing my work going, I really need to hurry up and finish this so I can go sit on the couch and watch Bluey with my nieces. Like it's really funny and really good. And they keep making them, it's not done. So there were new ones that I had never seen. And they have these mini-sodes where they're like, we have an idea for a sketch, but no overall storyline to put it in. We'll just make a mini-sode out of it. Those are pretty funny too. If you don't have children, don't feel bad about watching some Bluey. It's really funny.
That's great.
Yeah. And if you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Brian, I'm sad.
Oh, is it because you're at CES in Las Vegas?
Actually, now that you mention it, I'm sad for multiple reasons. No. I'm sad because I don't have my book with me. I usually have it right next to me when we do Cord Killers, and I can hold it up and say, buy my book, Synced, know a little more about tech, but I didn't bring it with me, so I can't hold it up. What I'm hoping
almost picture
is that someone is watching this live stream and will just buy it right now and run it over to the Central Hall at CES and burst through the door and hand it to me right now.
Oh, see, I could just, I can almost imagine the flapping of the pages.
Yeah. That sounds like my pages.
Oh my gosh, I've opened to an article on Wikipedia. It says here that Wikipedia was established in a year.
Wait, do you have my book?
Oh, I think, you know what? Well, I'm not going to confirm or deny whether or not I have it, but if I wanted to get it, I bet I'd head on over to tomsnewbook.com.
That's the easiest way to do it. Listen, it's going to be hard to get into the Central of CES the day before it opens without a badge, but it's easy to buy the book, and that's the first step. Go to tomsnewbook.com. Shall we scan the horizon?
Indeed.
Send a scanning crew aboard.
Scanning the horizon!
This is interesting. Bloomberg crunched the numbers from U.S. Nielsen for the last 5 years and found the most popular TV show of the last 5 years is NCIS. Did you hear me say streaming? The CBS legal procedural edged out ABC's Grey's Anatomy as the most watched show of, as the most watched show of the last 5 years, and that includes streaming. People are streaming mainstream television. The most watched show of 2025 was Bluey, because everyone's nieces are sitting on their couches. The most popular original streaming series of the last 5 years, so not NCIS or Grey's Anatomy because they were made for broadcast. The most popular streaming series was Netflix's Ozark.
Really?
And the Roku channel is the fastest growing streaming service after YouTube. Tubi not far behind. the thing about all three, they are free ad-supported television. I mean, you could pay for YouTube to get rid of the ads, but YouTube is free ad-supported television when you think about it.
So, two big surprises. One, the surprise on Roku being the fastest growing is not that surprising given the fact that they're baked into so many televisions and that they're focusing more on original programming and the fast channel revolution.
I think the Weird Al, biopic drove a lot of awareness.
Didn't hurt.
And, yeah, people started to pick it up. Yeah.
Well, but the surprising part is that Roku barely beat YouTube, which is a juggernaut. And that means YouTube, the juggernaut, is still juggernauting and expanding so fast.
I mean, when you say not beating, we should remind people we're talking about growth.
Yes.
And so YouTube, as old as it is not going to grow as much, right? Roku still can grow really fast, but that doesn't diminish what it's doing.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that YouTube is still growing enough that it's growing at all is remarkable.
Yeah,
and it's growing in our living rooms like black mold.
It turns out everybody talking about streaming and like, so who's watching those prestige shows on streaming? No, what people want to watch is NCIS, Grey's Anatomy, and they want to watch it free with ads. All of us elitists who are like, whoa, how do we get rid of the ads? No, I hate watching with ads. We're in the minority.
Yeah. Biggest other surprise, Ozark, huh? What's
Ozark.
Funny is I felt
not Stranger Things, although Stranger Things didn't have a season every year there, but then Ozark hasn't had a new season in a couple of years now.
Well, so I had a flash of, oh my gosh, Ozark, and then immediately I felt, well, who else? Who else besides Ozark? I think Stranger Things was a good candidate. I would have thought maybe
White Lotus, maybe.
Well, no, but even then, that would be not for streaming only, because that's HBO
right? Yeah,
regular,
it's not a streaming original. You're right. Good point.
And I would have none of the Apple TV Pluses or the Apple TVs because
Bridgerton I would have thought was higher up on this because of all the buzz around it, and it's on the list. It's just number 6.
Yeah,
Love is Blind, number 3, right behind Stranger Things. Cobra Kai up there as well.
Cobra Kai would have made sense. In fact, Cobra Kai, because it had so much of a presence on YouTube, right? You don't have the barrier. Now, but Ozark, were most of those people watching it ad-supported?
No.
So then that was just
this is over the last 5 years. So Netflix only launched ad support.
Netflix being that big.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Stranger Things did finally come out with its final episode on December 31st and made money in the theaters on it, generating estimated $20 to $25 million at the box office. Owing to the cast's contractual terms for residuals, theaters did not charge for tickets. Instead, fans reserved seats for the performance directly from theaters, but had to pay a 2 popcorn minimum. There were mandatory food and beverage vouchers that you had to buy in order to access your seat. AMC and Cinemark theaters charged $20 for those vouchers. Regal Cinemas charged $11.
Tom?
Yeah?
Is this just a runaround to not pay some fees? Or
Yes, it is. My guess is Netflix said, we'd like to put this in theaters. If you charge this much for the ticket, we will have to pay the actors this residual. And the theaters said, yeah, I don't think we can do that. Can we get creative? Is there something else we can do? And Netflix is like, I don't know. We're not in it for the money ourselves, and apparently we don't mind screwing the actors and the crew that have points. So sure, we'll just show it for free. You make your money however you want. And then the theater owners decided to make their money by requiring you to buy concessions.
So this is interesting. This is a case where by sticking to the on-paper agreements, everybody would be poorer for it.
Yeah.
So my guess is, in general, a bunch of TV stars, hey, do you want to be in a movie theater? Yeah, I want to be in a movie theater. Do you care much about the money? Well, I mean,
I do,
would you rather have it or not have it? I'd rather have it. Great. So then they're not complaining. But meanwhile, Real-Last 6611 in the chat points out that this is a make good to the theaters in a world where Netflix is about to, take over all of Hollywood. You probably want
I wouldn't call it a make good, but it's a salve.
A buttering up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Buttering
It's like,
up the
hey,
popcorn.
there are many ways that this could work for the theater owners.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's Netflix cozying up to the theaters, trying to play nice with them. The actors showed up at the theaters. I think Vecna showed up in Tustin, California, at a theater. He must live down in Orange County. But yeah, the actors didn't protest about this, and it did well, 20 to 25 million. I'm guessing the people seeing the Stranger Things in the theater didn't even realize that they were paying for the concessions. They probably thought they were paying $20 for the ticket and getting free food, and so thought, "Whoa, what a value! Cool, we got free concessions with our ticket."
Yeah, this does seem like one of those things where you have to do a whole bunch of loop-de-loops just to come right back around to doing a thing that, if it were fewer people, would make sense.
And the other thing is that it did well. It did well in the theaters for the 2 days, because it was in there December 31st from the time it dropped on Netflix until all through January 1st. You could see it the next day. Not a bad box office gross. So a win for Netflix, definitely. The other trend we've been seeing over the past year or so is the return of live television, people watching live events. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, which no longer features Dick Clark, obviously, because he's no longer with us, but
or
does
rocking.
feature and questionably features rocking, but does feature Ryan Seacrest. Reached 30 million viewers at midnight Eastern on ABC. That's a 35.1% increase over last year's audience and a 4-year high.
That's great.
Netf-
I think that we're bumping into, and we've talked about this, I think that there's a little bit fueled by, we're coming out of a multi-year phase of highly siloed, very lonely existence. And there's a hunger to be on the same page with a lot of other people, which is, I think, being satisfied by your Macy's Day parades, your New Year's Eve events, and of course your sporting things.
Your Rose Bowl parades, all of that. Netflix broke a record with its Christmas Day NFL games. 27.5 million viewers tuned in for the Vikings-Lions game, according to Nielsen. The most streamed NFL game in history. Not the most watched, obviously, that's the Super Bowl, but the most streamed NFL game in history. Game's most watched moment reached more than 30 million viewers. When isolating the halftime show, Snoop Dogg's halftime party, viewership stayed pretty close, averaged at around 29 million. Broncos-Chiefs live stream averaged 21.1 million. That was the other game, and became the Amazon most watched Thursday night football regular season game ever. So turns out Netflix made a good bet, deciding to finally spend some money on sports.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you know what? Because you know what they made off this? They made money on advertising, even from the people who pay for the ad-free tier. And I know there's at least 3 of you in the audience who are bent out of shape about this, that you pay for the ad-free Netflix tier, and when you watch that NFL game, you had ads in the NFL game. But the fact of the matter is, live stuff is going to always be an exemption. They're going to put ads in those breaks because that's the way it's built. And they get to make even more money off of that than they can off of their ad-supported tier. Brian, it finally happened. It's a birthday of sorts. Comcast's spinoff Versant began trading on the NASDAQ today on Monday, marking its official separation from parent company Comcast. If you are still vague, Versant is made up of NBC's former cable companies. We can say former now because Versant is independent. That includes MS Now, the former MSNBC, CNBC, Golf Channel, USA, E, Sci-Fi, Oxygen, and that Rotten Tomatoes channel, Fandango, Golf Now, and Sports Engine.
So this is the one that was briefly called Spinco. Is that right?
They were referring to it as Spinco in there before they picked a name for it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But basically it was when this was announced, our read was, we're not technically cutting off the cruft in order to make our prime company look better.
Yeah,
but-
if that was illegal, we didn't do that.
Right, exactly.
But what's legal is cutting off the cruft to make our bottom line look better. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Versant says they want to acquire stuff, but they very clearly said they were not interested in acquiring the cable networks from Warner Brothers Discovery that Netflix isn't going to buy. So my guess is they want to do a bending spoons kind of thing and look for some digital TV or digital entertainment properties to acquire and see if they can turn this around. I've been guessing that one scenario that Comcast imagines, they're probably not committed to it, but one they imagine is that they run this to see which of these survive, if any, figure out what they're good for, and then once they've reached that equilibrium, then they reabsorb Versant back into Comcast at some point. That may or may not happen, but I'm guessing that's one scenario they've played out. After 44 years, MTV is officially dead, said Collider. When we say MTV is dead, we don't mean MTV went off the air. We mean music on music television no longer is there. The M doesn't stand for music. MTV's remaining 24-hour music channels shut down globally. So you don't have the music-only channels that you used to have. You just have the main channels that show reality programming.
I threw this in kind of last minute because I had seen a Reddit post on it. According to hearsay from Brian Brushwood, who couldn't be bothered to track down whether or not it was technically true, the last video played will be or was the Buggles.
Yeah. Video killed the radio star. The other way to look at this story is major cable channel conglomerate, or however you refer to a group of themed channels, cuts off some of its lesser performing channels.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that with other channels where they're like, ooh, only our main channel is doing well. You know, maybe we don't need ESPNU. Maybe we don't need some of these lesser performing channels. And that's what MTV's doing. They're consolidating as viewership declines.
You know what's wild? Here's a way to restate the MTV era as something extraordinary. Tom, I have an idea for a wildly popular cable channel. It's only ads, and it'll run for 44 years.
Yeah.
There's never a moment that it's not an ad. The programming is ads. Between the ads, we'll put ads, and then we'll put ads on the ads. That's remarkable.
Yeah. And if people don't know what Brian's talking about, music videos were advertisements for buying the record. That's what they were made for. They were like trailers, and trailers are also a form of advertisement. And MTV said, like, so wait, we could just play these because it's free promotion for you? Cool. That's what we're going to do.
TTV.
All right, let's hold on for the chatter.
Got mail.
We got an inside source. Brian.
Yeah.
Andy wrote in and found
This is, do we say which Andy, or are we not supposed to?
I don't know. He didn't say which Andy at the end of his email, so I'm just going with Andy.
Okie dokie.
You know who you are. I woke up this morning to a copy of the Warner Brothers Discovery Paramount offer in my email inbox. This is not private information, by the way. I had forgotten my father is a shareholder, and he passed it along and asked me what I thought. I read through the Paramount tender offer doc, and I thought I'd share my thoughts with you guys as well. Nothing in it really surprised me, but what did stand out is just how aggressively narrow the framing is. This reads a lot less like, here are the terms, and more like, here is the story you should tell yourself while reading them. That's expected in a hostile bid, but this one leans especially hard into selective presentation. Almost everything in the document is technically defensible, but it's just presented in the tightest possible light. Structural complexity is framed as deception. Simplicity is framed as certainty, even when that simplicity mostly just relocates risk instead of removing it. They are positioning Netflix's SpinCo structure and debt allocation as murky and unpredictable, which is expected, while Paramount's own conditions, amendments rights, and regulatory exposure are minimized as normal. The $30 all-cash headline does most of the work. Everything else is arranged to keep your eye from drifting to timelines, approvals, and second-order costs. The comparison tables are good examples of selective storytelling. They highlight every possible adjustment or caveat on the Netflix side, while completely downplaying Paramount's flexibility to amend, extend, or walk. It's not wrong, but it's extremely curated. The Ellison personal guarantee feels less like a financial unlock and more like a credibility signal meant to counter the illusory financing critique. Again, it's understandable, but it's part of a narrative effort. The net takeaway for me is this doesn't introduce any new facts so much as tighten the aperture around existing ones until the conclusion feels inevitable. The core strategic divergence has not changed. Netflix is still trying to buy the streaming engine and isolate linear decline. Paramount is still betting that recombining the full bundle is a viable long-term play, but this document just tries very hard to make the second option feel cleaner than it actually is in reality. Sharing the PDF, he shared the PDF with us so we could take a look at it, and thank you, Andy, for doing that. You may hear this and think like, well, of course, they're doing a sales job. They made their offer sound the best. But I know what Andy's talking about, and I'm glad he included the PDF. Like, there are some stretches there where you're like, is this actual? I guess it's technically accurate, but man, they are pushing that persuasion as far as they can.
Yeah, that to be honest, and again, outside looking in, I don't really know much about this biz, but these all seem like the moves of the less confident bidder. It seems thirsty.
Yeah. Thirsty is a good way to put that. We also got an email from Dennis, who saw a very misleading headline on thestreet.com about FanDuel Sports Network facing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. There are multiple reasons why this is misleading. One is FanDuel Sports Network is just the brand name of the regional sports networks run by Main Street Sports Company, which came out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy recently. FanDuel is just the sponsor. So this doesn't have anything to do with FanDuel. FanDuel is just paying them, so they call it FanDuel. The bankruptcy has nothing to do with that. The bankruptcy has to do with the fact that regional sports networks on cable are suffering from what all these other TV networks on cable are, which is everybody goes to streaming to watch stuff now. So per the reports that I found on Yahoo, FanDuel Sports Network is attempting to pursue a sale to DAZN, which is another streaming sports situation. And if they can't do that, then they might have to do bankruptcy next. And if they do bankruptcy next, my guess is that the individual sports will just buy all their rights back.
Yeah, a lot of nested parentheticals in that one.
Yeah.
But also,
no,
to
the regional
be honest,
sports networks are not going bankrupt yet. And they might not at all.
I definitely through this one. This is. I hope I'm not talking out of school here, Tom. I knew this was red meat that I threw your way. I'm like, man, I don't know enough to know what this is and is not, but I'm glad that you were able to clear all that up.
Then we get Nikki, who says, I just saw the Copenhagen Test on Peacock, 8 episodes of an espionage thriller I couldn't stop watching. I binged it in a day. I really want a second season. So if everyone in the world could watch it, that would be swell.
Well, I'm glad you came to the right place. As you know, everyone in the entire world we're all equally responsible for these dead cords laying all around us. And I think it's responsible and incumbent upon us to make sure that we watch good TV that comes out of nowhere, like the Copenhagen Test.
Yes, exactly. E. Clay writes, some streaming services like HBO or Apple TV allow you to pay and use their app directly, or use it through another service like Amazon Prime Video as an add-on. Which one do you prefer? What are the pros and cons of each? Are certain features like video or audio quality options only available in the direct app method? Having payments for all your streaming services on one bill is nice, but I don't want to lose out on any features. Discuss.
As best I could tell, doing everything through Amazon is a dream come true. You've got one page that you can open on a computer that shows you all of your subscriptions, and it really is just one click and then they're gone. Unlike, as we've talked about, Tom, in other stuff in After Talk, I no longer do annual subscriptions because I hate that once a year you paid for a year of this thing. Good luck. Spend an hour side quest to go shut down that leaky faucet, or just go about your life. Having it all in one place is great, as far as I can tell.
I mostly agree with you. I don't do it very often because I like to experience the apps themselves just for the purpose of this show. And I know you do a lot of stuff through Prime Video, so I put a little extra pressure on myself. Like, well, I should probably
Brian ain't gonna do it.
I should probably muddle through the HBO Now one, and I don't mind doing it at all. The problems I have run into, not audio and video quality being worse. I have added channels to Apple TV. Paramount Plus, particularly, I added to Apple TV because they did a discount. But new features that come to the Paramount Plus app, I don't get in Apple TV, or I don't get them right away. So especially features like, the ability to stream your local CBS channel. That showed up in the Paramount Plus app, and then I found it later in the Apple TV app, like several months down the road. So you don't get the features immediately when you watch them through other apps, just because the other app has to implement them. And I have had some situations where I tried to play when I had BritBox added to Apple TV. I tried to play it in Apple TV and it wouldn't play a show. And I had to go to the BritBox app, and it was like, yeah, we have the show. And Apple TV was like, no, we don't have the show. So there was some miscommunication in the metadata there. But the good news is I was able to log into BritBox with my Apple TV account and say, I pay for BritBox. I just pay through Apple TV. So you can get that as well. You can do that with Paramount Plus as well. I imagine, Brian, you could do that with the stuff you subscribe through Prime Video. You could go and say, I subscribe to it. I just subscribe through Prime Video, and then log into HBO Max or whatever, right?
Yeah, and more importantly, my favorite benefit of that is the transparent use of it. For example, in the full experience, we're doing Star Trek, the animated series. It was really neat. I was able to say, Lex, just play the first episode of that show, and she found it immediately.
That's great. Michael writes, in regards to the story about James Bond movies coming to Netflix, no commercials, said like Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl. Amazon Prime has commercials now, unless you pay extra, and watching a movie without them is now novel. So yes, I will watch the Bond movies on Netflix, not Amazon. I still have Amazon Prime, but I rarely watch anything. So he's paying for Prime for other reasons. But he's like, even though I get it, I don't want to sit through commercials, and apparently doesn't want to pay extra to get rid of them.
I love these strange artifacts, and there are these moments that, Tom, 15 years ago, if time travel, imagine the two of us hop out of a portal and it's like a hardware manufacturer, a logistics company, and a DVD by mail company will be the biggest players in the business.
You guys are nuts. Then also Michael pointed out, if you cancel Peacock, they offered him a full year of the Pro version for $40 instead of the normal $170.
Ooh, I double love this because this is an echo of our favorite thing, the Chicken Challenge. Back in the day, we used to tell people, call up your cable company, tell them you're quitting, and then watch the bargains come rolling in. Apparently it's back, and now you can see the Copenhagen test.
Yeah, exactly. At a cheaper price. Matt Batt wanted to know if the Oscars, how the Oscars would handle advertisements on YouTube. He says, I wouldn't tolerate ads, but the Oscars is a huge day for ads. Well, guess what, Matt Batt? You won't tolerate the Oscars on YouTube, because even if you pay for YouTube Premium, it's a live broadcast, as I mentioned earlier, and it's gonna show ads in the break. When you watch that Brazil game on YouTube earlier this year, people were complaining, like, I pay for YouTube Premium. Why am I getting ads in this NFL game? Because it's live. Some live programming may contain ads is a disclaimer somewhere in your terms of service or somewhere on the site.
Well, and speaking one thing I took away was, I think he was asking whether or not programmatic ads would be in there and whether or not it would misalign the liveness of it. And I assume everything will be baked into the stream.
I mean, they will be programmatic, but they're so good with programmatic, most of the time you can't even tell anymore. They're getting better and better at that. The second thing from Matt Batt, he says, I haven't been able to watch the second half of Stranger Things because I've been too busy with the holidays and my mother-in-law sleeping in my living room. I often find movie and TV releases when I have the least amount of free time to watch them. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah. Well, and nowadays, I think that in my mind, prestige TV has become more like a good novel. A new season is just a new book, and oftentimes, as happens with awesome novels, you want to wait until your friends are also all watching it. Like, for example, nobody, as much as I love Fallout, still rocking my knockoff Pip-Boy watch face, I have only watched the first episode of season 2 because none of my friends are pulling me that way.
I haven't watched the most recent episode of Fallout, mostly because we had people visiting, and I exactly like Matt. I was like, oh, they're watching Bluey. I can't watch Fallout right now. I guess I'll just watch Bluey instead. Finally, Daniel in Minneapolis says, Happy New Year, Tom, Brian, and Amos. I enjoyed the Killies this year. One category I think you should do is best and or worst full experience of the year. Would be interesting to see what shows you like or dislike the most. I love this. That's a great idea.
Well, and it's great because there's two lenses to read that as, because every time we do a full experience episode, there's one, the actual content that we're watching, and then there's the how does it bode for the full experience test.
Yeah, exactly. So we will make a note of that, Daniel, and try to remember to do that. I love that idea. Well, that is it from CES in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you, Brian, for sending me here.
You know what? Don't thank me. Thank the patrons from patreon.com/cordkillers.
Indeed. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live at twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.